Okay, I want you to just take in this quote for a second. Yet, I am not coding anymore. Now, imagine hearing that from a software developer, someone who's deep in the trenches building new things. It sounds like he's quitting, right? Like his career is over. But what if I told you this was actually the beginning of a massive revolution?
Because here's the crazy part. Right when he said he stopped coding, his personal productivity didn't just go up a little bit, it tripled. That's right, 3 times more productive while he's apparently not even writing code. I mean, how does that even work?
And it gets even wilder. Get this, he's not just focusing on one thing. The guy is actively developing 10 different applications at the same time. This isn't just a small step forward, it's a completely different way of doing things.
So what's the secret? How is any of this possible? Well, this developer's story is really our window into a huge shift in how software is made. We're talking about the rise of something called the agent developer.
For our developer, Yannick Houchard, this whole journey kicked off when he got into a beta for a tool called Cursor. Now, on the surface, it's what's called an IDE. Basically, it's the digital workshop where developers build software. But this one had a very, very important difference. And here it is. This is the answer to the whole mystery. He hasn't just stopped coding. He's stopped using a simple AI assistant that just helps him out. Instead, he's directing an AI agent developer, a true partner that's doing all the heavy lifting for him. Okay, so that leads us to the big question, right? What in the world is an agentic AI? And how is it so different from the AI assistants that, we're all starting to get used to?
Let's break it down. An AI assistant is like a really good calculator. You give it a specific command, it does the task, and then it stops. You say, write me this function, and boom, it writes the function. End of story. An AI agent, though, that's more like hiring a junior developer. You don't give it a command, you give it a goal, and it works on its own to figure out how to get there.
And it's that autonomy that changes everything. See, an agent doesn't just write a bit of code and then wait for your next instruction. No. It can create an entire plan, it can execute that plan, it can read all the project files to understand the context of what it's doing, it can even run tests to check its own work. It's a complete goal-oriented system.
Now, you're probably thinking, this kind of power costs a fortune, right? That it's only for giant tech companies? Well, Houchard is doing all of this on a $20 a month plan. 20 bucks. This isn't some science fiction future. It's here, and it's incredibly accessible. And because anyone can get their hands on this, it brings up that huge, kind of scary question. Are developers about to become obsolete? And the answer is a clear, resounding no. But the job itself, it is changing in a really fundamental way. The traditional way of being a developer was all about the craft of writing code. You had to know the syntax, the logic, how to debug every little line. It was a very hands-on, manual process. In this new world, the developer's job gets a major promotion. You're no longer just the person laying the bricks of code. You are the architect. Your main job isn't writing syntax anymore. It's defining the vision. It's breaking down big, complex ideas into smaller tasks. And, most importantly, it's explaining what needs to be done with absolute clarity to your AI partner.
And this quote just nails it. The real value is no longer in the typing, it's in the thinking. The human developer is the one who designs the blueprint and then hands it off to this incredibly fast and efficient AI agent to actually build the thing.
Just think about what this really means for a second. The most important skill isn't going to be mastering a programming language anymore. It's going to be mastering the art of communication. It's about describing what a user should experience so clearly that the AI really gets the goal, not just the command. It's about strategy, about breaking a giant idea into logical pieces for the agent. All those soft skills we used to talk about, they just became the hardest, most valuable skills in the business.
Okay, but we have to be real here. We have to talk about the flip side of this. When you give an AI the power to act on its own, well, that opens up a whole new can of worms, a whole new category of risks that we need to be seriously aware of.
So for instance, what if you give an AI agent a vague task? It could start pulling data from different places and accidentally piece together sensitive personal info that should have stayed separate and private.
And think bigger. Malicious actors could use a whole team of these AI agents to carry out incredibly complex fraud on a massive scale, moving way faster and more efficiently than any group of humans ever could.
And these risks can get really, really personal and creepy. The ability of an agent to just go out and scrape and connect information from all over the internet could easily be weaponized for things like highly sophisticated stalking.
So, if you're going to dive into this world, you have to remember a few critical things. 1. These models can hallucinate. They can just make stuff up, and they're very convincing when they do it. 2. They are full of the biases from the data they were trained on. And 3, and this is the most important one, you, the human, are always responsible for what the AI does. The buck stops with you.
So yeah, the dangers are real. We've got to be careful. But if we can figure out how to manage those risks, the potential here is just mind-blowing. When you look past what we can do today, the predictions start to paint a picture of a world that is completely reshaped by these AI agents.
So what does that future look like? Well, the next step could be something like AI factory boxes that just generate software whenever you need it. And that could lead to the end of software as a service, SaaS as we know it. Why would you subscribe to a one-size-fits-all service when an AI can build a perfect custom version just for you? Hushard calls it home-built SaaS.
And this is where it gets really deep. In this future, the core of an app might not even be code anymore. It could be something called a prompt sequence. Basically, a set of instructions, a recipe. That's like the RNA of the application. It tells an AI how to rebuild the entire thing from scratch anytime.
So what does this all mean for you, for professionals in any field? It means your value is no longer about the how. It's all about the what and the why. Your deep expertise in your specific field, whether it's finance or medicine or marketing, that becomes priceless. Your creativity, your ability to solve new problems, and your skill at explaining your vision, that becomes your currency. The AI can build the bridge, but you're the one who knows exactly where the river needs to be crossed.
Which really leaves us with this one last incredible thought to chew on. If code was the language that defined the last 50 years of technology, are we now walking into an era where the very DNA of software is no longer lines of code, but a conversation?